Hello, everyone. It is good to be in touch and meet you, albeit virtually. My name is Jessica Sperling. I direct the Applied Research Evaluation Engagement function at Duke Social Science Research Institute and also co-direct evaluation and strategic planning over at the Clinical and Translational Science Institute. And my background and academic training is in sociology. And I was asked to provide you as doctoral students with 5 tips, and I'm going to offer those to you. I hope they're useful. Perhaps they'll repeat things you've heard before. Perhaps they'll offer something new. If something new, that's great. If they repeat things you've heard before, perhaps that's extra sort of incentive to think about them or take them into account. So let's go. 5 little gems, 5 things that I would suggest for you to think about. The first one that came to mind is related to a dissertation. Sometimes that involves narrowing in and really honing in on a particular topic or case, and that can be hard. But don't try to answer all of the world's questions or all of your field's questions in your one dissertation. That will probably not be feasible. And will lead to a lot of pain and heartache. So don't be distraught by letting some things go, right? It doesn't mean they're not interesting. It doesn't mean they're not important. It doesn't mean you could never consider them again. But it means that you're allowing the appropriate and needed time and focus for the particular topic that you chose. So let yourself sit with that and feel comfortable. A second point, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this before, maybe you're doing it already, but it is so important, is to lean on your fellow students and peers for support, for advice, for guidance, whether it's through formal or informal mechanisms. This can include you going to others with, how do I deal with my advisor? Could you read this chapter and tell me what you think? Should I apply for this particular grant, right? Leaning on others, but also letting them know that you're available to be leaned on, right, in a sort of reciprocal way. And that sort of peer support, is really truly valuable. You could even form a little working group if you'd like, of people who are meeting together monthly and problematizing. This could involve, gosh, as a doctoral student, I did this with folks who worked in my particular area of research, and then another one for folks who worked we came from very different areas, and it was actually really helpful both ways. So do remember that your peers are a valuable resource. A third point, this is kind of a big one, but think about where you want to go, what you want to be doing in a long-term lens. And I know it might be hard to do that because long-term is hard. Long-term means a long time from now, and you might just be figuring it out, but do have some lens towards that. So this could affect, for instance, your choices in selecting a research topic or methods or region of focus. For instance, if you're doing very heavily in-depth qualitative work in an international context, this means that you might, down the road, if you continue on that, need to be traveling a whole lot. Is that something that will work for you? Is that something that really drives you? Right? How does that feel within your longer term sort of intended trajectory? And a second point under this that I'll note is you should allow yourself to also think outside of a traditional academic career and trajectory. And I'm saying this acknowledging full well that that's what I did, and I don't look back in any way. I feel very positively about that. A traditional academic trajectory is one path. It is a perfectly fine path if it's the path you want, but it is not self-evident that everyone wants that one path. And that's okay. If you want to do something different, it doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you couldn't make it. It means you've chosen a trajectory that reflects your own specific interests. And that's fine. If you do, though, want to do something outside of a typical or traditional academic path or outside of academia, do make sure you're preparing for that as much as you can. It can be a little bit tricky to go from being a doctoral student to doing something else, right, outside of a traditional academic path. So make sure that you're thinking about what sort of preparation you might want or need, where you can get that, particular contacts that might be helpful to you. So that's point 3. Think about kind of where you want to be in a longer term or outside at least the immediate year way. A fourth point And this is also related to being from an interdisciplinary institute, but make sure you're using, accessing, interacting with as much as helpful, all of the many, many things that Duke has outside of the department. So Duke has tons of interdisciplinary institutes and centers and programming that you can engage with, either in a really deep way, like I really want to get involved in this, or just having a conversation saying, hey, this is my topic. I'm curious to know what you guys over at, I don't know, Science and Society think about this, right? Just to get some additional lens or perspective. And Duke is very rich in this sort of stuff. And so, make sure that you're taking advantage of that. And the last point I'll say, and this sounds a bit trite as I'm about to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway because I believe it to be true. Enjoy the fact that you are at a time in your life where it's quite literally your job, pretty much, to think about interesting things and things that you find interesting. It's not always the case, and certainly not self-evident, that that's something that we get to do. And sometimes that the joy in that can be a bit lost. You feel sort of the weight or the pressure of what you're doing. And if you're in that moment, I would just encourage you to step back and remember, yes, I feel the weight of the burden of what I'm doing. But ultimately, right now, my number one task at hand is, like I said, to think about interesting things and things you find interesting and important. And that's actually a pretty cool opportunity and a really nice thing about being a doctoral student. So I will stop there. I hope this was helpful in some way to at least some of you. If you have any questions, you are absolutely welcome to be in touch. You can reach me at jessica.sperling@duke.edu. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.